Well, hello my fellow car modelers, how you doing today? I thought that I would share a new series with you guys. Gus got thinking about it after that video I did about Scale Auto going, kind of under there and closing up shop, and boy did that video get a lot of response, and a lot of people bummed, and a lot of people have a really warm fuzzy feeling down in their chest like I do over this magazine and what it did for them. So I thought I'm going to do a whole series here on Model Car Hobby Headquarters that's going to cover a book from way back in the past. And I thought the most appropriate one to start this whole series off with is the very first one I picked up. This is the actual one that I went to the hobby shop and said, hey, are there any books on how to do detailing to model cars? And the guy says, well, there's this magazine, go over there on the rack and buy it and get the heck out of the store and leave me alone because you're really bothering me, kid. And so I did, but not without buying this magazine. This one's a really important one to me. I kind of covered it a little bit, but we're going to go page by page and look at it. You know, I just thought you guys would really like it, especially you guys who weren't into the hobby way back. This is like April 1988. And yeah, it was about that time that I discovered this magazine. I had been building models for, oh geez, probably 4 years, easily. But this is what got my head exploding about the hobby, and I really got serious about the hobby when I purchased this magazine right here. And we'll start by opening up to the first page. You got your editor's thing, and one thing I didn't mention his name, that this is definitely going to be a little tribute to Gary Schmidt. He was the man who started this. He was the guy who got it going in the 70s. I think he's probably one of the most important figures in our hobby, and many of you might not even know his name. And I think one day I'm going to do a video on Gary Schmidt. But Gary Schmidt was the one that started Scale Auto Enthusiast. I really thank him for it. But he would do a editor's collection, little, beginning there, forward or whatever, editor's notes from a message from the editor. But this right here, I remember seeing this. This burned my face right off when I saw this ad, full page ad. This was the company. I've talked about them in other videos and stuff. I talked about this builder, Don Farney, built this model using their product, and I thought, that looks like a frickin' real Pro Stock Thunderbird sitting there. I want my models to look like that. How do I do that? Well, I guess I gotta buy MSC products. And I got looking, I go 25th scale, they got braided metal fuel lines, simulated radiator hose, heater hose, brake line. And one of these days I'm going to go over all this product they did, because some of this stuff was so cool that there's never been another company that's done it. And I've already said in the past, I think the spark plug wires have only been replicated once, and I've given shout outs to this company, ProTech. They're the only company that has done spark plug wires as good as what MSC put out. MSC was the first, but their spark plug wire, you see I underlined this, I saw spark plug wire. You get 250 scale feet. You can get yellow, black, red, gray, orange, blue, light blue, violet, and they even do requests. I ordered my first time, I think I ordered black and I ordered red. I may have ordered yellow, but I know I got black and red. Oh, I had blue. But anyways, I spent enough time on that. And then there was scale mail. People would write in. I wrote in once. And they'd write in and ask questions, and, the staff would answer. You always had all these great ads, all these model shows coming up. Pegasus Hobbies. That's when they were getting going. I don't think they did any of their own stuff yet. They were just a hobby shop. And they sold online. Well, what am I saying? They didn't sell online. There was no online. This was online. This was the internet. And they did mail order. It was called mail order back then. That was simple. There's Fred Katie's. We've talked about Fred Katie decals before. I did the Grumpy's toy with the Fred Katie decals. That was his little ad. And Detail Master, another great company. They really were the ones who really launched the photo etch thing. But check this out. So there was this great on the shelf article that would talk about, you know, new kits coming out, and even aftermarket, like Don Holthouse, the model house. He's one of the original resin casters. Talks about some new bodies he's offering. This was pretty cool. They were talking about this 66 Nova when it came out. That thing was a benchmark of a model when it came out. It was kind of done for adult modelers. It was highly detailed, had a lot of parts, high parts counts. Really, really cool model. Could be real intricate. And that's what they talk about in here. And check this out. Other kits that were coming out. Look at that. These were all brand new kits coming out. There's that MPC Fox Body Mustang, the Camaro. We've talked about those. That Round 2 brought that back out really recently. It'd be cool if they bring that out. They have in the past. They should bring the Fiero. There hasn't been a Fiero in a while. Even more kits they're reviewing. This was all kit reviews. Now you watch it on YouTube. I do them. HPI guy does them. This was your kit reviews. You didn't get to watch somebody open it up and look at it. You just saw the box art and the guy wrote about it. It says, hey, this is neat. I liked it. It was fun for me to build. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Go find out. Greater Salt Lake Model Car Championship 9. There you go. That's the big show up in Salt Lake. SNS Specialties. Model car contest. There's another big model car contest. Model car swap meet. Everybody just did all their advertising in Scale Auto. More models. I mean, they covered everything. There was Hasegawa kits. There was the testers. Yes, testers Ferrari. This right here was just buy-in books. Look, I had hints and tips for plastic modeling. Get it for $4.75. I was going to order that book because I didn't know what the heck I was doing back then. Enthusiast Workshop. This was, you know, send in questions. You'd get the answers. It was really helpful stuff. And then I always liked this. I always wanted to get into this. Was the Enthusiast Gallery. You take pictures. And I remember they told you had to take black and white pictures. And I took black and white pictures and sent them in and never heard from them on a model I did. There was always these cool models, you know, guys would just send it in. You get your model in the magazine. It was neat, even though it was black and white. It was cool. And there was Kenneth Gerschack. I actually saw this model in real life because he's here in the Phoenix area, Scottsdale, Arizona. I remember seeing this model, thinking that was really cool. Looked like a very cool Chevelle. And then one day at the World of Wheels show, he showed up, and I saw that. I was speaking with someone not too long ago. We were talking about Charlie Ryder. Charlie Ryder, you know, he did this really cool truck, and that's all fine here, but later on, he built some models completely out of metal and used beer cans and stuff, and they were incredibly accurate. As a matter of fact, I think there was one that got on the cover of either Scale Auto or Model Cars magazine or something. And then, oh, I don't know if you can see these. Can I zoom into that? Items of interest they would do. And they did this. Now remember, what was, I didn't get it back then. I kind of read it and went, what the heck? Okay, April. Attention scale vehicle modeler. You build your model to duplicate the real thing as closely as possible. You use lacquer and enamel paints, body fillers, sandpaper, and wax is used by the automotive industry to guarantee the authenticity of your finished project. Now, when those same kits are eventually modified to the point that they are only good for scrap plastic, send them off to the recycler realistically with the kit crusher. And if you see, there's an, at the time, oh, I remember people flipped out. There was no 65 Chevy. It was long gone, and it was a high dollar model, even if you found it built up back then, to have a 65 Chevy. And it's sitting there in a vise. It's just a vise. And then they put pieces. This is the before, and this is the pile of usable parts. And you could buy one of these, so they said, for $4.99. Right. April, right? Ha ha ha. I remember I passed that off for years, and then it dawned on me one day. Oh, April Fool's joke. Funny guys. Funny guys there. They started doing April Fool's jokes. They had some famous one, like how many of you remember Clearview 5000 or something like that, that you could shoot a model body and this spray would turn the plastic clear. Yeah, they did all kinds of stuff like that. That was a funny one. They even covered, you know, collector showcases like on the 43rd scale models and sometimes some die cast. I mean, they covered everything scale model cars. And then there was an industry update. You know, it was the 3rd annual Chicago Model and Hobby Show, and they were showing things that were coming out. And Revell's new management has a finger on the pulse of the market. They'll be reissuing their many finer old kits, like the 1/16 scale funny cars that Ed McCulloch, the Chi-Town Hustler. Yeah, that was really cool. I remember when those came out for the second time, and it was really cool for us guys who just got into the hobby. I ended up getting one, and there's the ad for it. Those were cool. And there was just a whole bunch of stuff on what was coming out. Then, of course, you know, written by Tim Boyd, there's some great step-by-steps on building a custom model. And you would really pick up some great tips, whether you wanted to build this exact model or wanted to do something close. You know, these were great articles. It would go over the entire build. It's a build video, people. Here, there's your build video. That was a build video in 1988. And here we go. To me, I talked about this. This was what was cool about the Scale Auto Enthusiast back in the Schmidt days. Going to a model show. Another thing I got to talk about. Not only just going to a model show, putting it in the main magazine. Having contest cars or contest annual, that was fantastic. But premiere shows. And if you got, like these guys, if you got your model in Scale Auto noticed at a show, meant you went to the right show and you built the right model. But what I loved about it back then is they didn't take the models and have this little makeshift studio. At some shows I shot pictures that got into Scale Auto, and they were really uptight about, oh, you got to have it in a setting with just white background and all the lighting and all that. I want to see, to get the essence of the show, I liked how these things are just tabletop shots, and sometimes you'd see the other models around those models, so sometimes you get more bang for your buck. And there is Group 25, and they have a Facebook group. These guys up in Toronto are still going. I'd like to do a video one day on this. They still have this diorama of this dealership, and like I told you in that one video, that just blew me away. I wanted to build a diorama like that forever just because of that. There's more from that show. You see what I'm talking about? Look at that. More bang for the buck. One shot, 4 models. You could see what kind of stuff was in the background. You could see what was at the show. To me, this was top of the line, the best of best way to cover a model car show. No doubt about it. They did it right back then. It just got too, I don't know. You know, maybe it was better. You got better shots of the cars, but I don't know. I wanted to get the essence of being at the show, and this did it. And look, another page. So they would put 2, 3, 4 pages they would dedicate in the book to a model show. And then whammo, Fujimi and Hasegawa, big ads. Gotta have it. Here we go. Now they had a section that would be dedicated to big trucks, big rigs and stuff. And there was these cool things on how to do bolt heads and stuff like that, you know. Look at that thing, that weathered beast. Now weathering is getting so popular in a hobby. That was something you didn't see a lot, that realistic look. And I remember seeing that going, whoa, I want to do that on a car. Here was another how to turn the 83, 86 Thunderbird that Monogram put out and make an 87 or 88, because we didn't have that. And I did do one of these bodies once using this whole how-to here they put, and it worked. It turned out pretty good. I never built a car with it. By the time I ever got it close to building something with it, they ended up coming out with them. But these were really, really nice. Look at those. Totally kit bashed from two different bodies, from a street car and then the other NASCAR race car body. Bam, you got something that didn't exist at the time. And then they did it again. Here was another cool one, because you didn't have the El Camino SS kit out that we have today. So this showed you how to make one. And there's my grandson's model kit. I remember buying the Darrell Waltrip kit to get that nose, and I started building one. I actually ordered that kit from in the magazine. I got that very kit, and I started building this thing, and I never finished it. It's actually still in the box, but they had a whole how-to to get everything looking right. I cut that frickin' body up. Bummer, I'd like to have the body the way it was like that now. I always thought about restoring it. And then there was another model show from California, over in Ventura, California. I talked about this, about Jack Davis, who with his really cool street rods that were just curbsides. Jimmy Bunch. Hey Jim Bunch, are you watching? He contacted me after I did my video and I talked about his models. On a correction, he let me know he actually did not build this model. His brother did, and he entered it for his brother. But he kept it. I guess his brother lived in... So I don't mean to shatter this, Jim, but I'm going off my horrible memory. He was in Hawaii, and you went ahead and kept this model and took it to model shows. I love that model. You said you still have it too, don't you? This is pretty cool. This was when the 37 Ford came out from Monogram, the street rod, and it was a big hit. And then they did this sketch pad of different things you could do with it. And this one's an interesting one because later on this showed up as a built model by another guy I got to meet at the model show that I met, Jim Bunch, Ron Bolton. And he took this idea and he built this, and he made it on the cover of Scale Auto with that model. And hopefully one day I'll remember that, pull that magazine out and we'll look at it. Model Firehouse. I mean, look at all they covered every spectrum of vehicle scale model building. Everything. And collecting. See, it was everything. Model truck lines. I just thought this was cool. They did it all. It was all interesting. And then they had coming events. And it was in coming events in another issue that I saw that model show in Long Beach, California. And I said, I'm going. And then there's just an ad section because guess what? You didn't have the internet. You didn't have eBay. So here's eBay for you right here. And there's all this different people selling model cars, wanting to buy model cars, magazines, all kinds of stuff. Plastic wanted. It's a whole want ad. Look at how big the want ads are. Diecast for sale. Literature wanted. Parts wanted. Look at this. Let's see. Let's take a look. What somebody wants. A rear window for a Monogram Folgers Monte Carlo fastback stock car. Can you believe that? A guy didn't have that. You didn't want to go buy a whole new kit because, I mean, my goodness, the kits back then were $6. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to spend $6 just to get a back window. Then I have another kit that doesn't have a back window. So, hey, let's put an ad in Scale Auto, and maybe in about 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 months, it gets in there, and about 7 months after that, somebody contacts me and say, I have a back window, but it's cracked in half. Life without the internet. And more. Look at how much. This is it. Here is the eBay we had in 1988, and a combination of eBay and Facebook groups and all that stuff. And then there was an advertiser index if you wanted to find a particular advertiser that you wanted to get to. It'd tell you the page, like right here. We've got MSC model products on page 3, and we were there once. And look, you could order back issues, which I did order some back issues a few times, but pretty much from this issue, I never missed an issue for many, many years, probably about a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. I kind of stopped buying maybe about 10 years ago. And there's the back cover. So that's it. We just went through this. So, like I always ask, what do you guys think? You want me to do more of these? I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to do more of these. I want to just go through the old scale autos. I think it's neat. Maybe it brings you guys some memories. Maybe some of you guys who weren't around back then in the hobby, or not even around, that you go, wow, this hobby was really, I mean, to me, I've always said this, the late 80s, I think, was when the hobby really took off. Scale Auto was around for almost 10 years at this point. They were the nucleus of the hobby at the time. It pretty much was dying in the 70s, and they brought it back to life. And it was, and you could see here, this was all about adult model building. And that's the direction the hobby went. And Scale Auto, I don't think we would have this hobby the way it is today if it wasn't for this magazine. So I want to thank you guys for stopping in and taking a look at this frickin' thing with me. And I want to thank my producers. Thanks, producers. I want to thank you guys. You're buying the shirts, you're buying the mugs over on my Teespring store. I want to thank all the support. Keep on throwing some comments down below. It all helps. Like, subscribe, share, and you know, it's keeping this this channel growing so I can, you know, do more things like this. Thank you very much. So, let me just say thanks for watching. Keep gluing those fingers together. Keep cutting that styrene. And build model cars because they're fun. And we'll see you in the next video.